Palesa Mokubung is a South African fashion designer. She is the founder and creative director of Mantsho, a South African fashion label. The designer has worked on a number of projects and quite recently has been asked to design for the Bridgerton Season 2 South African soiree.
What prides me? I think it's the consistency for me, consistency in the last decade, really, because the first few years were very tough. It's still challenging, but it's not tough. It's just like a healthy challenge, doing what I do. And I think the body of work that we've put out over the years makes me really proud. We've gotten to address some major topics through the collections, political, religious issues, social issues, personal, emotional issues, through the shows that we do at SA Fashion Week and all over the world. And my big collaboration with H&M obviously is a huge one for me, because it's almost like my whole career was leading towards that, and I'm glad that it happened years later, because when it happened I was ready for it, and it kind of forced the world to stand still and look at this product from South Africa that had been that we had time to kind of refine. So it was a lovely moment, so I'm very proud of that. And then the team that I keep, my immediate team and my board of directors, so to speak, which is like my mom and people who just love me and care about me, and they're always there, for me on the other side of the line if there's anything that I need.
Looking at the fashion industry from when you started to where it is now, how would you say it has changed?
It's changed completely. I mean, I think when I started, the fashion industry was still teething. I don't know how old Fashion Week is. It's probably maybe 25 years old. I stand to be corrected, but that's still fairly young. I mean, at 21, at 21 years old, I still felt, so young just as a person. And an industry that is 20 years old is not an old industry. So I grew up in this industry, and I think the world has changed so much, and fashion is so fast paced that it is night and day. When I started, there were no boutiques, there were no stores that you could put your items in. You really got your family and your friends to wear the items, and luckily I had some famous friends who wore my clothes, and that kind of made it, kept me going. But the industry is very different now. It is, I'm sure that apparel and fashion is one of the top 5 industries in the world. So it's a very important industry that evolves rapidly. It's changed a lot.
And you've cemented yourself as the go-to person for women's wear in South Africa. I mean, over the years, we just spoke about how your brand grew. I mean, take us through the journey as well. Why do you find that people say that you are the go-to person for women's wear in the country?
I think it's because I'm the woman that I dress. Yeah, I started as that young girl, and I have a very loyal following, and I think it's because I have kept the promise of, creating clothes that are beautiful, unique, looks and styles and shapes and elements and fabrics that will make you stand out in a room, and that'll make you command, a boardroom, that'll make you command a whole trip, a whole conference trip, and I think it's because I've kept my promise to the women that I dress and to the woman that I am. I'm evolving, and I'm making moves, and so am I. So are the women that I dress, and I think it's the promise that I kept to them, and evolving. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's like introducing a new fabric to a collection. Every time you create a collection, you introduce a new fabric or a new print or a new sleeve, or that's evolving. You don't have to change your mind completely. I haven't changed my mind. My DNA is still very strong, but you can see my growth and my love and interest in what I do, and in the women that I do it for.
Former Miss Universe Zozibini Tunzi will be hosting the Bridgerton Affair this weekend. The Queen will be dressed by designer David Lale, and we spoke to her on what can be expected at this gathering.
I think a lot of fans who have been following Bridgerton, because it's quite a huge show worldwide, has broken so many records, and we've come to fall in love with just the storyline and the characters, the pageantry of it all, the dresses, the hair, and the parties that they hold. So that's what the Bridgerton Affair is about. It's in celebration of season 2 that is coming out. We're all excited to see that, and so we decided to throw this soiree to just come together and to celebrate and say here's a season 2 in the most fabulous soiree way.
You'll be dressed by David Lale. I mean, this is one of South Africa's renowned designers. What sort of style are you going for?
We went for very Regency, that era in which Bridgerton is in, and it's very royalty at the same time, but we wanted to make sure that it was giving fashion as well, less costumey, because it's very easy to go the costume route, but then it's very much fashion, very much an interpretation of African for me, because it is made by an African designer with his African materials and prints, so it's print done in a fresh, new, different way, and I'm so excited for everyone to see what it looks like.
And I was told your outfit would definitely not be complete without your crown. Do you mind showing us what your crown looks like?
Of course. I mean, what's a queen without a crown, right? So I have it over here. It is such a stunning... Actually, let me just put it right there between you and I. Isn't it just beautiful?
That's gorgeous.
Let me actually just try to put it on. I don't have a mirror.
Let's talk about your fashion influence. I mean, growing up, who was your biggest style icon?
Oh, sure. Growing up, my biggest style icons, I think I took from so many places. One, my mom. I know it's so cliche to say this, but I think she's one of the most stylish women I know. So I really looked up to her in terms of what she was wearing. And when I think more outside of style icons, Victoria Beckham for me has always been it. I mean, she still is. She's amazing. But I think more especially growing up, she really was redefining fashion in that era. And so she's definitely one of the people that I think about growing up as fashion icons.
And looking at the fashion industry, I'd say that with social media, it's definitely evolved. Has social media played any influence in how you dress or your style influence per se?
Probably yes, because I mean, we go into social media and we're influenced by different people every day, and we find styles that we necessarily wouldn't have if we didn't go into social media. So yeah, I will say they definitely have influenced some ways of how I dress personally.
And how would you describe the way you dress? I mean, what is your idea of fashion?
My fashion is actually very rooted in comfort. I love feeling comfortable. And so it doesn't matter how good I look, I need to make sure that it is rooted in comfort. Simplicity is also a thing for me. I don't like too much. And yeah, so it's very much comfortable, very much simple, just an elegant style.
Loved by fans, the Bridgerton is set in the Regency area of towering Afro wigs, expensive taste and chic style. Season 2 is currently showing.
Did you miss me?